Hello, good evening, welcome to Steeler Rob Gutman Live. Rob Gutman is with me. I've also got Siobhan McGann and Adam Melia. We're live across social media, we hope. So we're doing this on Facebook, so we're going to be maybe taking a few questions. So if anyone's got anything that they want to ask the panel or they want us to talk about, or Evertonians that they particularly want us to skit, do let us know sort of in the comments there. But yeah, you should be getting this on the Twitter and maybe even the Instagram as well. Who the hell knows? But yeah, enjoy yourself, enjoy your derby day, and enjoy these lovely people. Rob, you've written a preview piece, excellent as always. When you talk about the fact that this still is a Merseyside derby effectively, and you're still bang up for it, and also we're 2 wins away from the big one.
Yeah, do you know what? There was a turning point in all this for me, which was watching that United Tottenham game the other day. I don't think I'm the only one to say this. It really looked like proper football. If you have the crowd noise on, and I don't know if the camera guy was doing a first-rate job or not, but you weren't seeing the much empty seat action, and when you did, it was sort of nicely decorated. And the intensity of the game, and I don't know, everything about it felt like this is actual football. And you sort of jolted me back into thinking. You're almost thinking as though when football restarts, it's not real football. Like there'll be sort of like animals dressed in Liverpool costumes playing seven-a-side, and it won't. You know what I mean? Something a bit dreamlike and surreal. It is actual football against real Premier League teams, and to me, I'm beginning to think that nothing is diluted here. Yes, I'd like to have been in the stadiums, but I have actually watched a few Liverpool games on telly down the years, including the Champions League final, and I still with Adam actually. And I still really enjoyed it, although you were too pissed to, Adam. But we'll let that slide.
I was watching my timer on my phone, and I couldn't see the screen. And yeah, they kept bringing wine.
It was a very stoic performance in the end by you. I have to give credit where it's due. But you know what? Yeah, I am as excited as ever. I'm beside myself. I found myself having had a sleepless night over whether Sadio Mane is going to make it or not because he wasn't in the training picks. I think he probably will. Yeah. And on my preview thing, I predicted that Mo would come off the bench, and I think something like that happened because I think we're going to be in very much in pre-season mode. I think that's the one difference here because they haven't had enough warm-up time. So I think the games could be strange in that sense.
Siobhan, we have had a nice little warm-up, haven't we, in terms of the other fixtures? So we've had the Bundesliga, which is, footy, but not quite the one we're into. And then we've had sort of the Premier League stuff. So the teams who we more actively dislike, just because they're nearer to us geographically and all that. And we've had an experience of disliking them. But now we've got sort of the real stuff. And like Rob, I enjoyed the needle in that United Tottenham game, in terms of, the around the penalty that wasn't, and everyone shouting at each other. And I liked the fact that Pogba was fuming at the end. And then yesterday we had actual footballers strangling each other and everything. Do you know what I mean? And nothing gets me going quite like that.
Bit of violence. My favourite bit about Friday was that I watched it with my dad, and he'd somehow he supports Man United, and he'd somehow built it up in his mind over the last 3 months, that United were good, and that it was going to be good, and they were going to come out and they were going to be renewed, and Pogba and Fernandes were like all of a sudden busy mates, and Pogba all of a sudden didn't hate the fact that he was there, and blah 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 blah. And then about 10 minutes in, he just went, "Oh, for fuck's sake," as if to say like this again. Yeah. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. That was the highlight of my week so far. In that, I think what we're going to see a lot of is a lot of dashed hopes over the next couple of weeks that this gap has been in any way productive for people, and the worst kinds of people, or the best kinds of people from our perspective. But I'm totally for it. Like we've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's not the same, it's all that." We haven't really got a choice but to just get on board and just embrace it and just enjoy it for what it is. It's so much better than I thought it was going to be. It's so much less awkward than I thought it was going to be. And I didn't see like a marked drop in intensity that I was expecting and things like that. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's come nicely in stages now, like you've just said, like the football that's good, but you're not really bothered about, the one that you're not bothered about because you hate everyone, and then ours. Like it's come in the right order. It makes sense.
Yeah, it would be nice if Liverpool is still brilliant and Everton is still rubbish, Adam. Even with the break, that's what I'm largely hoping for.
Yeah, and I think Siobhan's right. There will be a moment of realization, I hope, It might that's because that's the only bit of doubt, isn't it? There's still kind of the doubt in our mind that they'll have forgotten how to kick it, they'll have their boots on the wrong feet, or it'll be the inflatable dinosaurs or whatever it was that Rob said, playing 7-a-side. So yeah, and it is funny that we seem to be we do seem to be the very very last time possible out of all the teams in the world to kick off. So I know what you mean. It is in the right order, but at the same time, I'm itching to get on with it. Really, it feels like. I suppose it felt like we were building up to these games, these clinching games for ages anyway, and then we've just had this absolutely insane, unprecedented period of madness where time's basically stopped, and so we're still doing the same thing. We're still saying we're 6 points away. We're just building up to this thing. It might happen in the derby, and now we know it won't. And yeah, so it's. I don't know. We've all probably been through lots of different phases of it all. Of like wondering whether it'll ever happen, and wondering whether it'll be the same, and generally being excited about it. So I don't know. I like the idea that we're going to be responsible for dashing people's hopes. Because it's a bit like, although I haven't heard Everton being as much like that, but when you were talking about United, Siobhan, that's what they do every pre-season, isn't it? They sort of forget that they're crap, and like Everton tend to get very buoyant in the pre-seasons as well, don't they? Winning the transfer window and all that sort of stuff. So, although they haven't been as audible, probably because of where we are in the league and what's just about to, we hope what we're about to cross the line into. But I can imagine that they will be having their own kind of vain hope of possibly everything will have changed. They'll be great, we'll be bad, But yeah, don't think so.
Yeah, there's a few comments in there, Rob, about people worrying, how confident they are, how sort of relaxed they are. Richard Smith says, has anyone ever been more confident of a win? There was another one saying, where was it just high, above from Kevin Thompson, how are the nerves, everybody? Worryingly, he's got none and never had this before the derby before. Do you think that's a sort of a natural thing around, the gap, the fact that we're not all sort of heading up there and as soon as the game starts, those nerves will kind of kick in? Or do you think that's just, the case of, well, we're supremely confident because of how good we are?
There's a couple of things at play. One, we've forgotten how to behave, and you don't jinx football. Firstly, you don't jinx football matches by fucking vainglorious predictions that we're going to smash Everton. I've never been at home to that, and I think you've got to remain superstitious at the very least about these things. I do think what might be at play, though, because you're right, there is this mood of huge confidence. It's not so much that we'll definitely smash Everton; it's that we'll definitely win the league, right? That's what's at play here. So Everton could beat us, and they really would enjoy it. And and there'll be no taking that away from them, although we will try to. But ultimately, they won't stop us winning the league. There's nothing they can do to do that, because the odds, and I'm a big fan of using the odds as a sanity check, are in excess of 1,000,000 to 1 on Liverpool being denied this league title. So Liverpool are going to win the league. Everton can't hurt us. They really can't hurt us. And I think that's what's feeding into it. Do I think we'll beat them? I think we think we're much better than them. And Neil keeps telling me that, behind closed doors, that class outs because crowds don't distort it. And the evidence of the Bundesliga suggests that. And he might be right. But at the same time, we're also stuck in this. We're also like a first game of the season vibes, where one team could be strangely fitter than another, and it's very, very hard to call. So I actually think this is very, very hard to call. It will not be true now, though. It'll be true afterwards, whatever the scoreline. That Liverpool are much better than Everton.
It's funny there when you said the about the odds of Liverpool winning the league. Rob, I was gambling on horses this week because with Ascot being back, and I had some open bets, and I was like, "Oh, what are these?" And I found my old Man City to win the league nerf bets at 66 to 1 and all that jig, and I was like, "Oh, remember those days fondly when I thought the thing that we're going to stop Liverpool was a collapse rather than a worldwide pandemic." I mean, there's no stress about that now, is there, Siobhan? Do you know what I mean? We've seen off the worst of it. We've had the worst that this world is able to throw at us, and now surely it's it's 2 games, boom, get it done.
Yeah, and the earlier you get things on, the better, really, because the more if they were to drag out in any sense, that would just be music to everyone else's ears. I'm still struck by the idea that Rob thought he knew how to behave before this pandemic. I mean, that was a mad shout, wasn't it? But he's right. You know, there's a big, massive unknown, isn't there? And Rob's just actually really calmed me down there with his whole whatever happens today, it doesn't affect the bigger picture, because it's really tempting, I think, to think of anything bad happening today signalling some sort of slide. It's not going to, so don't even think about it. But today is going to be really hard to call, because you're right. Like, what if it's such an unknown? Isn't it? It's a really long time. What if they've not remembered how to behave? You know, like, what if they've not been going to the Gutman School of Behaviour? I don't know. Like, but they will. It'll be fine. It's just such an unknown, isn't it? And you know, you see the things coming out of the training sessions and the behind closed doors game Blackburn. All the signs are good, and I've not been paying attention to whatever they've been up to, apart from like feeling a bit sly on them with some of the injuries that have kind of come at a really terrible time. But I don't know what they've been up to, but I'm just hoping it's not as good as what we've been up to.
Yeah, Adam. I was on 5 Live this morning because I'm a big deal, and
Busy big wheel down at the cracker factory.
and he said, like, what's your day plan? And I just realised that we've been so sort of consumed with what are you doing for the match? You know what I mean? Like, how are you watching the match? That I've forgotten that normally I'd be out by now. To be honest with you, second pint in, I reckon, by now. So forget about this evening. What's your 12 till 3 game? What are you doing after this?
Well, that's it's a great question, John, because I mean, pandemics notwithstanding, who schedules a derby for 8:15 on a Sunday night? It's the worst possible
7
time.
o'clock, isn't it?
7 o'clock?
Is it 7 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 8:15 on Wednesday.
All right. Oh, well, I was going to miss the first hour and a quarter. Well, that's good. I'm glad we've cleared that up. But yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? Kicking off at this time. So, and I was out all day yesterday, to be honest. For full disclosure, it was my brother's birthday yesterday, and I thought, as well as it being, the thing we wanted to do because of it being a birthday, it's quite good to get some training in for bevying again, because I feel like I've, as well as forgetting how to socialize, as Rob said, becoming like, I don't know, like early onset dementia. I think I've got, like, I've lost all patience with conversations. If they're not brilliant instantly, then shut up.
It is funny. It's all about warming up, though. My wife went to me this morning, like, when was the last time you were hungover? Yeah. And I was like, properly, I think March. And she's like, you're going to be a nightmare tomorrow, aren't you? Because, you won't be used to it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And so I got it out of the way today, and I've just sort of remembered the things that I have to do. Like, yes, what
how's
do I
that
have to
going?
do again? It's actually, well, about half an hour before this, it wasn't going that well, but then I remembered about going back to sleep and having a bacon sandwich, so I'm all right now. a bit better, but yeah. So I think.
Thank you, bacon sandwich.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, it was a bad joke.
Okay.
Thank you, bacon sandwich. It's a topical pandemic link joke.
I see.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. So I'm. Well, I thought I was going out to round to someone's house to watch the match at about 6, but I'll probably have to move that forward a couple of hours now. Now I found out what time it actually starts. So, yeah, I've been quite enjoying the kind of like pubs being transported into the outdoors. I went to Kelly's Outdoors yesterday.
Oh, how was it?
Kelly's Outdoor Dispensary. It was funny, actually. There's a little like community garden on by Garmoyle Road. I think it's probably used to be a house that got bombed and then turned into a little, it's like a tiny little park. Yeah. And that was where Kelly's had gone. Just a little walk away. So yeah, that was it. That was quite funny. So I might do something around here again, sort of start off around here and then head to. I think I'm going to Waterloo, so head up there for this one. But yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Trying to plan them all, because we have to think about tomorrow as well. I mean, everyone's pretending that doesn't exist, but we could win the league tomorrow.
Oh, let's not even get onto that. Let's not even get onto that. Siobhan, I've realised that the baby's got no Liverpool gear anymore. He's grown out of it all. And he's got nothing to fit him. So what I'm doing straight after this is going to town. I mean, probably having a pint, if I'll be honest. It'd be like Christmas shopping. I'll have a pint, get
in
a
between
bit, have another
purchases.
pint.
Yeah.
So a little bit of all that. But yeah, I don't know. Is your little boy ready? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what, my fellas just opened the door and just held him up. We've been waiting 106 days to put this outfit on him. I bought it. Do you know, I was just thinking before we for Christmas, me and him, we bought each other as a, like a couple's present. We bought hospitality tickets for Chelsea just to make damn sure we were there, kind of thing. Obviously, that's gone tits up. We got the money back for them. He bought me Jerry Cinnamon tickets. That's gone tits up. That hasn't happened. I bought him the baby's Liverpool kit. That's not been worn until today. So this is the first time any of our Christmas presents have been used. I've been waiting to put this on him for months. But what I have noticed is that motherhood has really scuppered my match drinking. It's really got in the way of it. If pregnancy wasn't bad enough, parenthood is worse. So yeah, it's one of us is going to have to take the hit here. I think it's going to be me because on account of Father's Day.
Oh,
whoever planned that is a man.
Yeah. I booked Benidorm, by the way, September 16th.
No.
Just throwing it out there, September 16th. Yeah.
Oh, I think we might be in Portugal at that time if travel's okay. But it's only a short flight from there, isn't it?
I've got Portugal in August. I'm hoping if we can have some, what are they calling them, air corridors or something like that.
Yeah, some nonsense. I'm going to the lakes.
I'm doing that as well.
Keep in touch about Benny, though.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I'll give it some deep thought.
I'll let you know what survived and what hasn't. What
no, I mean, like, if it still happens.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Oh yeah, I think September will be fine.
What's the week after the 16th?
There's people getting in touch from all over the world, which is brilliant. Stephen Morris saying 3 a.m. kickoff in Tokyo. Some guys in Australia as well. I mean, there's excitement all around the world, Rob, which is boss as well. It gives you that because we're obviously in the city. We're bouncing off each other and stuff like that. But for Liverpool fans all around the world, it's a big day, and some of these lucky blighters get to go to bars and supporters clubs. I know the Sydney's open. I know America's open. I mean, what a gift for that. I know you've called July the 4th for Love and Rockets. So we're gonna if that happens, we'll get some action in a pub.
Oh no, Jesus Christ! I'm very I'm very confused about this outdoor drinking culture that's sprung up within the last 4 days. I tried on one of mine about 2 weeks ago, and the fucking busies shut us down. And now every fucker's at it. I'm now at the point where I actually can't be asked. I'm going to do it properly, open properly, watch football in pubs again, and distanced and all that malarkey. But still, yeah, I'm very envious of those who can do it properly now. But we will all soon be at peace again, hopefully. Come on, Boris, you wanker.
How are the boys, Rob? How are the boys? Are they excited?
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, Rafi is the sort of kid he's so into his footy. He watches every game that's on, full stop, right? So he's just enjoying this absolute festival of everything being on TV. Yeah. He's watched 8 games start to finish already. I mean, I've watched about 3. That's maybe 3.5. But he's watched every single one. So it's like he's never been away. I was actually sort of worried because he's young. He's 11. And okay, I've been taking him to the match properly for, I don't know, 3 years now, something like that, maybe a bit longer. But you sort of think with a kid that kind of period away from it, is it going to damage his faith in his hobby, and is it going to sort of affect his football love forever? And it's important that he's properly brainwashed to me, but it hasn't abated in any sense whatsoever. I'm happy to report.
Good news, great news. Keep that brainwashing going. Adam, a few people in the comments are asking us about team stuff, about, would you expecting any surprises? I think Rob said there's been a couple of murmurings this week about Salah and Mane missing sessions and things like that. If I'm going to say to you that the most likely team to play, or the team he sort of the lads he goes with the most, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson, Salah, Mane, Firmino, are you going to shout a name out to me who you think is more likely to start than any of those?
Not really. The one that was in my head was Keita, maybe, but I don't think it'll happen. I think he'll come on. I'm still a bit scarred from this fixture last year. You know, I was really wounded by it on the day, and that was, I think, in a big sense down to Firmino not playing. So I'm picking Firmino. He's my first name on the team sheet, because I think that that and it's nothing to do with lockdown, but you sort of see, you know, the way that a player that does glue things together can make such a difference. You know, Fernandes, I thought, was brilliant for Man United the other day, and it's all that sort of thing that when you take Firmino out, it just doesn't glue. There's that join between the three forwards and the midfield and the forwards. Just looks a bit clunky without him. So he's definitely the person that I'm looking forward to seeing the most. And I do. There's been a few murmurs, hasn't there, about Salah possibly. Well, he's been sitting out training, but Klopp said no one's injured. But I'd be surprised if it wasn't. If it wasn't that six that you've said there, John. To be honest, and I think that's been, you know, that one of the reasons for our amazing consistency this season has been a very consistent team. So I think he won't. I think that it's been really exciting to see Keita and Minamino and hear the reports of especially them two and you know some others who maybe had been injured or had been, you know, sort of new signings like a Minamino. It's been really exciting to see them coming in and being part of it. But I think it's very pre-season-ish getting excited about that sort of thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We quite often get a big pre-season from a player and we think that's it, they'll be straight in the team in August and through the rest of the season they'll be a big part of it. And it kind of doesn't happen like that, does it? A lot with Klopp. He treats pre-seasons very much as kind of like their own thing, and you still haven't quite paid your dues in terms of getting in the first 11, 14, 18, however many. So I suspect we will be very much the boys today and Wednesday and until it's done, and then we might see some changes. I think the 5 subs thing's interesting. That's been an interesting dynamic. It does mean you can load your you can tip the balance or whatever you'd call it. You know, you can throw a load of forwards on if you're chasing a game.
Which is what Man United did, didn't they?
They did, didn't they? And I think it does. Yet again, it favours the teams with big good squads. So you know, it's kind of a bit alas on the bottom teams, because they, you know, them games where they might have been kind of hanging on. It's even, you know, it's even worse. It's a stickier situation for them now. I didn't watch Arsenal yesterday. It's funny that they got beat, isn't it? Just change the subject there.
No, it is funny.
I think Adam, I disagree vehemently with you on this one, Adam.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
I think
you're going to text me afterwards.
Sorry? What?
You're going to text me afterwards.
Yeah, I will, mate. I will. No, I think pre-season form does apply. I think Naby Keita he actually was really good, and I think the closing phases of pre-season before this season starts, and he plays really well in the Community Shield, but he then gets injured immediately, as is his wont. That's why he doesn't feature.
Maybe.
I think against Everton, I think they will park the bus against us. I think he'll want to play with effectively 4 forwards. So I don't think he'll go with his wall midfield of Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Henderson. I think one of them, I'm going to guess, Wijnaldum will drop out and Naby will come in. And I don't think all the front 3 will play. I think Mo's missed too many sessions, so I think they'll hold him off the bench. The thing we've got to remember is that players, you know, they haven't played a lot of football, and we're suddenly expecting they're all good for 90 minutes. They're not going to be good for 90 minutes. Some of them are going to have no legs after 55, 60, and I think Klopp will be thinking, I could do with a really big player, as per the Pogba thing you said, to come on and win the game.
Siobhan, then you've got the final answer. Do you know what I mean? Do you think he's going to go for his cup final team, if you like, and do some experimenting after? Or do you think it'd be a case of who's looking sharp in training and maybe the likes of Keita and Minamino, who apparently have been impressing, you know, could get the nod?
I wouldn't have been surprised by Keita instead of Wijnaldum. I wouldn't be surprised by that. And I don't think it's the time to maybe throw Minamino in just yet. I wasn't aware of this Salah missing session stuff, so Rob's just thrown me a bit of a weird one there. So I know I'm going with the front three as they are, because I wasn't aware of anything else, so I haven't prepared anything else. But I don't think it's the time to risk kind of throwing Minamino in at the deep end. I also don't think it's necessary to rush Keita back, but I think it's probably be a decent game for him. I think Rob's right in that Everton aren't going to be looking to be playing. They'll look to resist Liverpool rather than try and play their own game. So I think Keita could do well in that if reports from pre-season from the closed season are true. So.
I'm trying to think, John. If we make 5 subs, who would the 5 players coming on be? If that if he picks the first team, the cup final team, who are our 5 subs?
Well, Milner's there, isn't he? And he always likes to do little bits for Milner. Then Keita, I think, would get a little go in that regard. Minamino, and then I think, yeah,
Shaqiri back?
No, Shaqiri's the only one who he's saying, not him. Which is a bit of a strange.
Andy Robbo has missed sessions as well. There's been talk that Milner might start.
Yeah, we'll see. Mark Ballard's been on. This is one for you, Adam. He says, any real chance the Ev catch us off guard, or is that your Lottie Ancelotti?
I think there is. Well, that's what I was saying before. That I'm not. The reason I'm not 100% confident. And I am confident, but I'm not at all blasé about it, because I do remember what it was like last season, and largely I think that was down to Firmino missing, because it was the same at Old Trafford the week before when he went off. We just looked a bit porridgey. So, but we haven't in recent years scored many goals at Goodison, so I don't think we can be. Super blasé. We're gonna score 8-10 goals, because we generally don't. We've won there a couple of times in recent years, and it's been 1-0 both times, I think, hasn't it? So they are not. They don't tend to be open kind of end-to-end games. It tends to be quite tight, and then something right, something at the end. Same Anfield actually with the Origi. Obviously, this season actually at Anfield was the one that was really different, and so I like to think that maybe if Klopp's learning all the time, that this is one of the things which he maybe has learned now. It's to not show Everton any respect, because that's, I think, what we did at Anfield this season was to kind of pick an unusual team, but one that kind of did a very specific thing for that whole first half, and we destroyed them. So I'd like to see something like that. I just I think that. I think that generally that isn't how these things play out. So I'm not sure. And as for the Ancelotti factor, I don't know really, because I'm kind of not sure how good he is anymore. I know I love him. I've always had a lot of fondness for Carlo. So that's a new dynamic for me in an Everton manager. So yeah, I was with some Blue Noses yesterday, and sort of I was saying about Klopp's comments about Boris Johnson, and putting it to them that they would have to admit that he's difficult to dislike. Klopp, that is, not Johnson.
No.
And yeah, so we had a chat about how we both, that like I like their manager, they like our manager. It's and it's nice, really. I prefer it that way than when it's Moyes and them hating Benitez, us hating Moyes, and the because it's a bit of a race to the bottom, isn't it? Just everyone's thinking of the thing they can say to upset the others, and we all know where that goes, don't we? So yeah. So I do think we'll win, but I just think that looking at the kind of Derby form guide, the form book, which isn't out of the window, because that's the other one. The Derby form book says that these things don't tend to be high scoring at Goodison.
Okay, on scoring then, Rob, this is a question for you. Karina says, as a betting man, Rob, do you think 20-1 Virgil first goal scorer is a really good shout? Now, there's obviously these comments from Richarlison that I still haven't figured out whether they're real or not. But if so, might have G'd up Virgil a little bit more. He likes a Derby goal. He scored his first ever goal. Was a Derby one. Rob's out of 5 for Karina for a 20-1 Virgil first goal scorer.
I think that sounds decent odds. I would have thought Virgil would be shorter than that. There used to be one, a mate of mine, you know him, John Julio, and Adam knows him as well. He used to always bet on Sammy Hoopier first goal, 4-0. That was his double. Sammy Hoopier first goal, 4-0, right? He got about 40, 50 to 1 for it every time. And he got it once it came in, by the way, that bet. And so I would have said Van Dijk, he's actually been our first goal scorer, I think, in a few games.
Yeah.
I watched the Brighton at home. He scores 2 headers, and that was a really key and tight game just after City had lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd asked me to guess at the odds on that. I'd said I bet you because Van Dijk is the best in the world in his position, and I'd have gone the 12 or 13 to 1 maybe. So 20 to 1, that's a solid bet. So 5 stars for solid betting.
There we are. What do you reckon on these Richarlison quotes, Siobhan? Because I was just expecting someone to come out to say, "Oh yeah, that's not real." But they have run and run, and it seems a strange one just before the derby. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be like, "Oh God, he's done it."
Yeah, it's very much up there with the Pickford I won't error like Alisson ones, isn't it? You know, like so timely, so unbelievably undone in the match. I too thought, well, these look like they've come from one of those fake Showbiz quotes Twitter accounts, because what a claim. I mean, there's lots of doctoring of his Wikipedia page going on now, isn't there, to update his career and things like that.
Trophies won.
Trophies won, once dribbled past Van Dijk, and then the other half's going, when? It just seems it seems bizarre. Maybe they're as bored without any football chats like we are, and they're just throwing something in the mix to have something to talk about. But talk about. I hate saying this because it's a bit cliche, but talk about doing the team talk for them, because like Van Dijk's not going to need much encouragement now, is he, to absolutely body someone there, namely Richarlison. So
It was
Kev's comment in the Facebook group, John.
Why? What's up with Kev now?
Said, does everyone except Gibbo want Richarlison to do? Like Leno.
Yeah. I've been winding goalkeepers up all night. Very precious human beings they are. Very, very precious. Can't have competition.
Can't have the truth, can you?
No. Very, very, very precious.
What a mad dynamic that dribbling past thing is. Just before we change the subject, that was one of the strangest things. But was that this season? The
stats that lasted forever. I was so relieved when that just fucked off.
It was just, and he's brought it back, the idiot, because I don't know. It is mind-boggling in a sense, isn't it? That became, like it was like, oh well, if you dribble past him, then presumably you win. No, but so eventually somebody did dribble past him, but I think we still won 0. So does that mean he's lost?
It's the people's win.
Also,
it was twisting my melon.
Also, the thing where he was the statisticians definitively said, he's finally been dribbled past. It was Pepe for Arsenal in the season, and if that's dribbling past, that's not very much, because he just basically had the ball. Van Dijk didn't have the ball. He pushed it to the side and ran after it fast, and Van Dijk caught up with him.
Yeah,
nobody got past anybody. It was. So it's a very loose definition of the best of times. I mean,
quite a straw man argument, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Created a straw man and then dribbled past.
Yeah.
Someone's claimed I've had a haircut, by the way. It's very much just wet. I've just had a shower. My hair is shaggy and still uncut, like Jordan Henderson.
He wears it well, really, really well, though. Sorry.
Though there was no need for that, though, was there? Do you know what I mean? You could have just
You might have thought I was being ambiguous with who the he was.
No,
couldn't have that.
No,
John, I've just been sent a photo from upstairs.
Hey, what a dude! What a dude! Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Ted something now.
Oh, and one with a bib.
Absolutely, boss.
He's doing one of them.
Dab.
Yeah.
He knows how to cough responsibly, Rob.
Nice.
Good climate and all that. Very important. I mean, someone else has made a comment on here. I think it was Robin Grimes about away form. Rob, sorry, I'll go to Adam on this. And we were talking about it before in terms of Germany and what we'd seen on that. And Robin's pointed out here that only one game in the Championship ended with a home win, and this idea of away form, and it should help us, shouldn't it, going to Goodison and not having their fans, and that's sort of a thing where that they'll want that really, and we can laugh at Evertonians all we want, and they do get on their own team's back as well. But they are capable of having that 5-10 minute period where it starts going well for them. They get a couple of corners or whatever, and suddenly it becomes a difficult place for us to play, and that won't happen today.
Absolutely, it is a difficult place to play, I think, and as you say, it can be tough for them. But they beat Chelsea, didn't they, this season? I think when they decided, I can't remember the context, but they turned it on.
It was Ferguson, wasn't it? Ferguson's manager.
Yeah.
Ferguson, right? Yeah. So the old lady rocked, and they won. But so and they obviously do that every year against us. They until grim reality starts dawning on them, kind of about an hour in. It is a very difficult place to go for us. And like you say, in the Bundesliga, there's been, I think, home advantage has entirely disappeared, and it actually seems to have turned into a bit more of a lottery recently over the last couple of weeks. But to start with, certainly it was the good teams were just winning home and away, and that it has to be down to the crowd in general, geeing up their team, making the others panic, geeing up the ref, making them do things that they wouldn't normally kind of do, making them not think straight, the officials. And so it's absolutely going to be a factor in our favour, you'd have to say. I'd love the job, by the way, of pressing the buttons on the soundboard. Whoever's doing that, I think they're doing it really well, by the way. But presumably that is a club person, or is it a Sky person? Who's actually, is it Sky that's doing it?
I think
you can have the option without it, can't you? So it won't be someone in the stadium.
Yeah, because the players can't hear it. But I would love that job. It reminds me of when I for some reason there was a band that I was mates with, and I went to watch them. This is when I was a kid, and it was in Crewe in the Limelight, and for some reason they gave me the job of operating the lights. And there was a smoke machine. There was a smoke machine which I just kept pressing until they basically nobody could see anything, and the venue asked me to stop.
Adam, do you know what it reminds me of? The old Father Ted, when they read the book Football for Women, and they all go, "Your shit, ah."
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah,
go wide.
Yeah,
there was a brilliant bit, I was saying this on a show with Gareth the other day. Did you see the Tottenham Man U game where someone was out wide left and wellied it into the side netting from that angle where if you're the other end of the ground, you think it's maybe in. And the fake crowd went, ooh! Complained about that. I thought that was the most realistic thing I'd seen. That's exactly how stupid crowds can be.
Yeah. It's incredible how specific some of the sounds are. They had the whole stadium applauds for the bad injury as he's being stretchered off. That was perfectly delivered. And the side netting, I heard one where it sounded like a small section of the crowd celebrated. Some of the crowd thought that was in.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, been very.
You think of everything these days, don't they?
Any other business before we go? Anyone want to say anything? You'll forever hold your peace.
Get on it now, haven't we?
Just Derby belly, I've got that anxiety that I either need to be sick or have a drink or something like that.
Have a drink, Gail. Have a drink.
Yeah, it's got Father's Day stuff to do first.
Oh God, those pricks.
I've got to do on Father's Day. There's no like Rezzo's on.
I've got to take the baby to and see my dad and stuff, and God.
I've got a soundboard app. I got it recently, so I'd be doing
that. Do that again.
See, that's
I might get that just to annoy my boys when we're watching the football later, because they'll really be fucking irritated by that.
It's very entertaining for the person doing it and annoying for everyone else. Perfect.
Exactly. Is it a Vuvuzela app? That would really get on people's nerves, wouldn't
it? Well, you can record your own noises. I might do a Vuvuzela one.
What's the app called?
Memes soundboard or something.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay. Really, really solid. Any other business, Adam? Really good. If anything, that's what any other business was made for.
Adam is
Absolutely fantastic. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us. Today, the Anfield Wrap are going to be doing a lot, but one of the things is Hot Mic commentary. So throughout the day, so all 3 games today, we're going to be doing the commentary on Hot Mic, obviously including the third one, the Merseyside derby. So if you're watching any of the games and you want to enjoy it with us rather than those biffs, then the other biffs, we're obviously biffs as well, but the biffs you like. So download the Hot Mic app, and yeah, it syncs through your telly and all that. Just put the code in Anfield Wrap when you download it. Follow the Anfield Wrap and you get notifications when we go live, but it'll be basically be all day. So do get involved with us on Hot Mic. Neil's doing all 3 games, I'm doing the last 2, and we've got a bevy of beautiful people joining us throughout as well. And also, obviously, if you don't subscribe to the Anfield Wrap or you've unsubscribed about the football now, it would obviously be a really good time to come back or to join us, because we'll be doing post-match reaction show, both audio and video, straight after the game. And obviously all the social media is going to be on point today as well. So basically, if you're on your own or you're just with a couple of other people and you want to be part of something bigger, then the Anfield Wrap can offer you that today. So share the journey with us. We'll all share it together and we'll enjoy ourselves. But in the meantime, thanks a lot to guys for joining me on this Facebook Live. Thanks to Andy for sorting it out. And yeah, thanks to you for your questions. And up the Reds. Let's all get on the ale, apart from Siobhan.
No, whoa, I am. Just mildly, and before and after. We're compacting bedtime.
He's nearly there.